I'd
like to go ahead and call to order the Bradford Village Board of Education organizational meeting. And we stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Dr. Swab.
Here.
Mrs. Brewer.
Here.
Mr. Biesecker.
Here.
Mr. Manuel.
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
Next on our items is election of officers for 2025. First is election for president. We have nominations.
I move for Dr. Swab.
I'll second that. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, you got it.
Make the
I already wrote it.
roll call.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Abstain.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Did you say that?
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
It's a perk, is that right? Next,
Newly elected president gets to resume the
Right.
meeting.
read this riff right now. Next, we have nominations for vice president. I nominate Maria. That's any other?
I'll second that.
A roll call for approval?
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Abstain.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes. Should we go?
Next is setting up our regular meeting cadence for this year, which you have.
I have some dates. If you are interested in keeping them the same on the second Wednesday of each month, they'd be February 12th, March 12th, April 9th, May 14th, June 11th, July 9th, August 13th, September 10th, October 8th, maybe. That's during pumpkin show, so you can swing back to that one.
Yeah.
November 12th and December 10th. And then January 7th would potentially be an organization meeting within the first 10 days, if we're staying with the second Tuesday.
Is everybody okay with the second Tuesday?
Tuesday or
Wednesday. Did I say Tuesday?
Wednesday.
I was like, do we change it
Did
to
I say
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
Okay.
Sorry, Wednesday, second Wednesday,
The only one definitely for sure is,
pumpkin show. And that's, we went, it should be scheduled, the second Wednesday of the month is the 8th. This year we went to Tuesday after that, and that would be the 14th if we so wanted to go that way.
and I'm sorry, I did not bring my calendar, but when did you say the July date was?
July 9th.
Okay.
And then just move the.
October to the 14th?
Yeah.
Would that work with you? Do you have a meeting on the third Wednesday?
No, my meetings have significantly less this year,
Okay.
so which is.
And I'm not pushing for that Tuesday. I don't remember why we didn't just move it back to the Wednesday after.
Is Wednesday better for you guys? As far as. Fine, we can do it Wednesday because it'll mess up our minds.
Right.
We better just
Instead
do
of
the
Tuesday,
15th.
let's make
I
it
like
Wednesday the 15th.
Wednesdays. Oh, you mean all of them or just that one?
Just
That
this
one
one,
during,
kick it the next week.
to
Yeah,
move from
yeah.
pumpkin show, just move it to the third Wednesday instead of the second Wednesday.
Okay. And the rest are still going to be on the Wednesdays? Okay.
You just-
Yeah, because I think that's good because a lot of sporting events are on Tuesday and Thursday, and Wednesday, not much goes on here.
Yeah.
Shouldn't, but. Okay.
Does that sound great?
Mhm.
Sure.
I will send invitations to everybody, including a 6 o'clock for the organizational
That
meeting.
might work, right?
My apologies.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, I was just.
I just got here
looked-
too, Trey.
Yeah, I just looked right before I left the office. I'm like,
Well, I checked the agenda.
it was 6:30. It did, right? And I'm thinking,
I'm gonna go home.
then I'm like going back through my emails going, what is it? Yeah, it's 6.
I checked, it said 6:30, and he texted me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my meeting's now, I gotta go.
sorry,
I
everybody.
wasn't near that panic.
I made it in like 2
I
minutes.
did come.
Because
You
his
were
truck doesn't
quick.
have a bumper, he has to be careful while he drives.
Yeah, we heard about the bumper.
Okay,
So
I will
next-
send out an invite to everybody, including 6:30 for the second Wednesday of every month except October. That's the third Wednesday. And January's meeting will start at 6 o'clock for the organizational meeting, which we, I would assume, the regular meeting immediately following.
Yep, that sounds great. Next is approval of the Board of Education Service Fund for $6,000, which was our normal amount. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Colleen, a second. Any discussions or questions?
Do we usually spend that, or we just have it in case we need it?
You're close because, if, it depends on how you want to look at it. The OSBA fees
Oh, yeah.
are high, so that's not an exorbitant amount when you figure everything, so.
Okay.
Now, I did have flyers for all of you for a conference in Georgia. I didn't pass them out tonight, but if you wanted to consider something like that,
Like, is it close to
Yeah, it might
the
go
beach?
there. It wasn't.
No other discussion, roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Next item is the routine approval of the treasurer for the following duties. I won't read those, they're the same as before. My meeting, my alarm going off for my 6:30 meeting. A motion to approve,
So moved.
and Scott with the
I'll
second.
second.
Any discussions or questions? Is it the same items as we do routinely? If no other questions, roll call for approval, please, Carla.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Next is the same item of authority we delegate to the superintendent for this year. And second,
I'll second.
Maria. Any discussion or questions? And then roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Next item H is recommended elementary principal be designated as liaison for the homeless students pursuant to the state and federal laws. And items I is authorizing the Board of Education members to attend proper seminars and related meetings. And item J is the proper public first resolution that you'll see on our agenda that I won't read to you. I have a motion to accept those 3 items.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any questions over any of those? Hearing none, roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Next is the Career Center representative. Your cycle's still,
Yeah, till the 25
Theoretically, you got one more year.
or 26.
on the resolution.
Yes.
so we just, that's Maria. Or, and you'll do that. Super. All agree? Motion to approve. So moved, Scott. And I'll second. Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Do I yes or abstain? Because we both abstain, will we have enough?
Three.
Yes, I say yes, because it's not really
I
an
don't
appointment.
think it matters.
You're
It
so
doesn't-
good.
and you can vote for yourself.
Okay.
So,
I just didn't want to make it so it doesn't work.
no, you can vote for yourself. Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Next is a motion for adjourning of the organizational meeting.
So moved.
Second. And roll call for adjournment. Training, Scott?
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Organizational meeting stands adjourned. We will begin, do you want to begin this at 6:30? Give everyone a chance? It looks like we're getting all our students. We can just wait till our regular time. Or would you like to?
It was advertised 6:30.
So. So we talked about if there was a lot of time, we were just gonna
Want to go down there?
do it backwards.
Got it. I'll get it for you back.
Yeah, we were supposed to be there Monday, staff only, and we canceled. They have so much more snow there than we do.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes. My coworker has 13 inches. I said, my heart ain't coming. And I drove yesterday morning at 7 o'clock. I went to Arlington. I'm off today. I'm going to things. So I drove to Lowe's, and the roads were perfectly fine the whole way there. I took 721 there, to 36, and then the Greenville, everything was just fine. And then the way home, I thought, should I take children's home or, Jason? Really bad. But the roads were, I couldn't believe how good they are. But we didn't get it like they did. Like our parking lot, there's huge amounts of snow, and cleared the parking lots, it's crazy. Dayton Park's already closed for tomorrow. But today, even Trump would close, they never, because they don't have a road. They're not old, they're all, they get their own transportation, whatever, and they closed today. Yeah, all the Preble County schools were still closed today. We didn't close today, did we? Were you delayed? Nothing. Yeah, that's.
No, in fact, our roads were passable yesterday.
Right, just that,
I felt a little.
I know, because of the level two.
Yesterday's closure, to be honest with you.
I told them I went to Greenville at 7 o'clock in the morning and everything was great. I thought I'd be like this the whole way because I never left the house today before. And it was, everything was clear. There wasn't none on the
You
road.
took 36 over.
Yeah. Yeah, all the way to Lowe's and Walmart, everything. The parking lots were empty. It was like a ghost town. No one was out yesterday.
Ours still on level 2 snow.
I had to go by. No one was at Lowe's. No one was at Lowe's getting paint in the morning but me. I thought, you know what? This sounds cool, man. And Jason's like, oh. Yeah, we had probably 15 schools today, I bet not there. We probably had 15 schools not there today. I had 8 kids out of 25 first, and then in the afternoon I had 9 out of 24. That's it. You can't even do anything. You can't even do anything. But some of our big schools closed late, like Trotwood, they closed so late today. So it would, we usually look at those.
So how do you guys do that?
You just go to school and worry about who comes when they get there.
You guys weren't off on Monday.
Yeah, Monday was a teacher work day and we didn't have school. And then Tuesday we canceled, which we don't cancel very often, but most of our south schools were closed and a lot of them were still closed today.
Yeah, because a lot of them, I mean, I was astounded by how much snow they got.
They got way
Based
more.
on the inches of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the farther north you went, the less amount you would have. At my house, you don't get dusted.
Yeah.
It's like nothing.
Yeah, we didn't get much. Inch and a half here. But so we have some on 1 hour delays, some on 2 hour delays and some canceled. So you just take attendance at 8:05 and let them worry about it later.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what you want to, it's not in your control.
For boyfriends and others There's some seats over here if you guys want to sit. There's 4 seats here. Got a packed house tonight.
Nice. Dr. Swamp, everybody's good for space.
Okay.
We're gonna start a little early.
Cody, we're ready to roll.
I'd like to go ahead and call to order the Bradford Village Board of Education regular January meeting, and if we could stand for the pledge.
Again?
Do it
This is
again,
the
yeah.
third time today.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Swab.
Here.
Mrs. Brewer.
Here.
Mr. Bezeker.
Here.
Mr. Manuel.
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. It's nice to see a whole group of students and parents. First on our agenda is any additions or deletions to the printed agenda. If not, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed? So moved. Thanks, Scott.
Second.
Maria, any discussion or questions? If not, a roll call for approval of the agenda.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Bezeker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next item is approving the December 11th regular minutes and the December 23rd special session minutes. Motion to approve.
Someone.
Thanks, Maria. And a second. Second. Okay. Any discussions, questions, or additions? If not, roll call for the approval of the printed minutes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Bezeker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our administrative team for our student spot.
Sorry.
So we'll start off with the elementary part of the student spotlight, and our first student that we're going to spotlight is Gracelyn. Gracelyn, come here. How are you doing today, Gracelyn?
Yeah.
So Gracelyn was nominated by Mrs. Seifring. This is what Mrs. Seifring had to say. I would like to nominate Gracelyn Grimes for this student spotlight. Gracelyn is a fun-loving student with lots of energy and a positive attitude.
Aww.
She's eager to learn and always puts forward her best effort. Even when she makes mistakes, she recognizes it, listens to corrective feedback, and tries her best to overcome her mistake and learn from it. Due to all of her hard work in and out of the classroom, she is making some nice growth in her academics. Not only does she have a great work ethic, but she is very kind and caring towards others and a great friend to her classmates. Gracelyn is such a great role model to the students in her class. She is truly amazing and all around a wonderful person. Great job, Gracelyn.
I'm gonna take a picture of it. Stand over there by my daughter. There you go.
Congratulations. And our next student was nominated by Mrs. Tina Schmitz. Mrs. Schmitz. That'd be the case.
This young man I'm choosing for this month's student spotlight has been working very hard all year. He's worked hard in all core academic areas to become his very best and make the most growth that he can. I'm especially proud of him in math. Excuse me. He has the accommodation of using a calculator in math class on assignments and most assessments. He rarely uses it in class though. Even though it takes him longer, he wants to work those problems out without the calculator. I know that when this guy puts his mind to something, there's very little that will hold him back. I'm very proud to recognize DeKaven Asher as a student who knows the characteristics of being worthy of recognition. Keep up the great work, DeKaven, and you will do great things.
And our last elementary student spotlight is Zach Durst. Zach, come on up. Are you Zach? I said, how are you, Zach? So Zach was nominated by Mrs. Breeze, and this is what Mrs. Breeze had to say. Zach Durr is a student I would like to recognize as this month's Student Spotlight. Zach is in the 4th grade. He is the son of Carmen Durr and Alex Durr. He has a younger brother, Lincoln. He enjoys baseball and playing with his friends. Zach is an amazing young man and has truly impressed me with the work ethic and determination that he has shown over the past few years. He has worked hard to build his reading skills. At the same time, he has improved his self-confidence and his ability to reflect on his learning and find and correct his mistakes. His growth and perseverance in improving his reading led to Zach passing the 3rd grade air test this past summer with an accomplished score. I consider myself lucky to work with such a wonderful student. Great job, Zach, and congratulations. Here you go. Zach. And now we'll move on to the junior high school. And our first student spotlight is Grayson. And Grayson was nominated by Mr. Schulte. This is what Mr. Schulte had to say. I'd like to nominate Grayson. Flip up, right? Flip up. As this month's student spotlight, Grayson is a shining example of what it means to be a railroader. He's the son of John and Megan Filippo, and we are so fortunate to have him in our 6th grade class. Grayson consistently demonstrates a strong work ethic and an eagerness to learn. He's always active in class discussions, offering insights and asking questions when something is unclear. His curiosity and drive to understand make him a role model for his peers. What stands out most, however, is Grayson's kindness and willingness to help others. Whether a classmate needs assistance with an assignment or a friendly word of encouragement, Grayson is there. He truly embodies the spirit of teamwork and cooperation. Grayson's efforts do not go unnoticed. His kindness, dedication, and hard work inspire those around him to do their best. We are excited to see the great things that he will continue to accomplish. Great job, Grayson. Congratulations. Congratulations. And last but not least, we have Kai Roberts. Kai was nominated by Mr. Park. This is what Mr. Park had to say about Kai. I would like to nominate Kai Roberts as this month's student spotlight. Kai has shown so much growth over the past years. His academic performance in my class has been truly refreshing and a fantastic thing to see. He offers to read during class, offers up his answers and thoughts, and is never afraid to ask questions. His performance on classwork and tests show a level of improvement and perseverance that would be a guiding light for students around him. I've had a wonderful time watching Kai over the year become the student and person he is today, and I couldn't be more proud. Great job, Kai, and congratulations. I don't like that.
And I'm going to do something here for the school board, if that's okay. Our spotlight for this month represents or goes back to National School Board Association or School Board Representation Appreciation Week. We have a group here. I don't know if you all know how thankless and how much work these guys actually do, but we have a great team here. So we're proud of them. We're glad they're here, and our staff spotlight this month goes back to our school board. I'd like to say they're committed to children, work closely with parents, responsible for ensuring structure that improves a solid foundation from our school system, strong advocates for public education. We now declare appreciation to school board members and proclaim the month of January 2025 as School Board Appreciation Recognition Month, and urge all citizens to recognize the dedication and hard work of the Bradford school board members, and in working with them, mold an education system that meets the needs of both today's and tomorrow's students. With that, I have a short video that I'm told I'm supposed to do this first. So sorry for those folks at home. You're not going to be able to And now we're okay?
So you good? Okay, great. Well, I would like to thank all the parents and the students for coming. It's the best part of our meeting is to see that, have the opportunity to see the students and give them a chance to be recognized for their hard and really hardworking efforts. So we'll pause the meeting before we move forward, give everybody a chance who'd like to exit and head home, the opportunity to go home, and then we'll resume our meeting in a few minutes.
I know.
I grew up on Dairy Farm. I didn't know there was any of them around here, so. There you go. Yep. Have a good one.
When I saw that come through,
How much really had? How much did you pay for?
You should get your since he wasn't here.
did you really think you were in trouble coming back?
He had no idea. I said, didn't Mr. Barr talk to you today? No, no.
Nope.
No. Yeah. I guess we'll find out when you think.
All right, first off, hope you guys had a great holiday, and a new year. Don't have a ton to report since the last, meeting that we had. We did, have a little bit of fun leading up to Christmas break where.
Sorry, I have to make sure everybody can see this from home too.
Are you serious?
There we go.
But the Santa's helpers, we passed out candy canes to all of the students in the whole building. This is actually the first year that I was able to participate in this.
This is actually as a deputy that thing.
Yeah, Deputy Bubeck does this. He kind of puts a giant portfolio together to show the sheriff's department all of the things that he does, and he does a lot of great things here in the district with our students. So this is one of the things, and like I said, I've never been able to participate before, even been in meetings or something. And this year they got me to participate. And I happen to be the Easter Bunny. At least all of our students thought I was the Easter Bunny, not Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
Oh, that's way too old of a show.
Yeah.
But
Did
you know what?
one or two recognize it?
It's like one of, yeah, there was only like 2 or 3 kids that actually recognized I was not the Easter Bunny. But we had a lot of fun with it. The kids loved it. The elementary kids were asking me why the Easter Bunny was
And you go around later this year with the drum and.
Yeah, actually, one of them asked me, if she asked, like, didn't I see you in a commercial? Like, did I have a drum? So that was a lot of fun. The one thing I do want to kind of talk about is our course of study changes for this upcoming year. We do have to change, and honestly, it probably should have been done last year as well, but we can no longer offer the CCP classes for chemistry, physics, anatomy and physiology, the cell genetics, evolution, and animal and plant ecology. It's not because we don't want to, it's just our teacher isn't certified yet. She's a younger teacher. She doesn't have the credentials, and the things needed from Edison State to be able to provide that. But we think she will be in the next few years. We needed to update our credits to 1.25 for all of our ag classes. They were previously at 1 credit. Now they're at 1.25 credits. In fact, they've always been at 1.25 credits. It's just a typo that we caught. So if you see that, our ag classes do get more credit. We are changing the name. Math, Modeling, and Reasoning is a class that we started last school year, and Lisa Osborne, which has really helped a lot of our kids so that they don't have to take Algebra 2. It's very hands-on. It's a great class. And she does a fantastic job with it. But we needed to change that to advanced quantitative reasoning, simply because that's what the state is now calling it. And Wendy and I have kind of a theory, and we hope it's true, but we think they're changing it because it's kind of hard to give a college credit class to something called math modeling and reasoning, but something like quantitative reasoning is something that you could more utilize at the collegiate level. So that's why we think that's going to happen. Other than why would you make a change other than something like that? And we've been around this long enough to know that that's typically what happens. Updated our advanced PE credit to reflect that, unfortunately, in the state of Ohio, you're not allowed to get a credit for advanced PE. You have to have a half a credit of PE to graduate from high school, and all of our students get that. But what has happened in a lot of other schools, and it probably happened at Bradford at one point in time as well, is kids just keep taking PE classes because why wouldn't they? So, once we get to advanced PE, after your first 2 PE classes, you can no longer get credit for that. And that's a statewide thing. That's for every school in the known world. We are changing world history to Western civilization from 1500. We're doing this, number one, it kind of makes a little more sense. And it is more of a CCP type of a title for that class. And then we're going to add at the bottom here a Western civilization to 1500, because Mr. Park has a lot of students that would be interested in something like that. And it is also something potentially that we could offer as a college credit plus class as well. And then the other classes that we're adding is history of the Supreme Court and law, FFA leadership, marketing, and small business management. Our new business teacher has a lot of knowledge in the leadership world in business, and wants to kind of build our business program back up and start offering the classes that would be more business-like. And he's trying to tailor it around what his students, like he's getting to know his students this year and tailoring it around what he feels like they would really like from getting to know them, and what would be more beneficial or most beneficial for them when they do go on to college. So those are our course changes that we're going to have. Oh, I also forgot FFA leadership. That's a new class that we actually started this year. And it wasn't credit. It was more kind of a study hall where we're putting our FFA leaders in a class, our president, vice president, there's 5 of them. So that they actually have time to sit down and meet and discuss and go over all of the different things that go into their chapter. And we are going to give them a quarter credit for that now, because they are giving up a lot of time, and they do a heck of a lot of work, and it's very beneficial. So, we found out we were able to give them a quarter credit for that, so we're going to do that. Any questions on any of our courses or anything? All right, that's all I have for you this month.
Thanks, Chris.
I know that when we were out at the new STEAM room or STEM room, that we discussed the Lego bodies and discussed what they were doing based on what Mr. Owens had given us as a donation. And so this is what their table now looks like, and they've been practicing. So in this video, you can. It's very short. We don't need sound. We just need to watch. But they've got their little robot there that they can now manipulate.
Playing on my screen.
Oh, there's a ladder.
But they're having to move around their table that they've made now. And so Corey Cannon and Brooke Fair, and then Megan Unthanks, like the lady behind the scenes, making sure the financial pieces are done, are now part of getting it started. And we've got a lot more kids as they see it, getting more interested. So we hope to expand that program. And it's 6th grade and 5th grade right now.
I really didn't change to the next one.
It's okay. It was 24 seconds long. It wasn't very long.
All right, I'm going to try something different here. Okay, you want to try it again?
You can try.
Yeah, again, it's playing here,
It's how
but it's
my TV
not
is.
playing there, so. Okay, I'll go to the next
Okay.
slide.
Pretty cool though. This is just a picture of our Christmas parties, in the kindergarten classroom. Mrs. Ridout had gotten gingerbread houses from Aldi's and they put those together and they do a stocking exchange in the first grade, so that's the kids getting that, in both of those pictures. And then there was just some other activities going on in the other rooms. And she had a Grinch little costume I thought was kind of cute. We also had an elementary student council sharing project. Students collected supplies for families that are staying at Kettering Hospital for long periods of time. Toiletry items and kits were made, and there were 80 kits that were given to families that were there. And there are actually people that are living in the garage while their family members are having to be at the hospital. They were actually staying, and I don't know why they were doing that, but there were actually families that were staying in the garage parking complex while they were there. And so 80 kits were given out, as well as they had given out onesies for preemies that were down at Kettering Hospital as well.
I'll just do the rest of the athletics.
That's what that's good. Any questions for me? Okay. Thank
So
you.
we're kind of in the middle of a light time at Bradford. You know, the fall, when you get started, there's so many things going on, and then basketball starts going on, and we have a lot of things going on then. We're kind of in a light time right now, so we don't have a heck of a lot going on. The Dark County Spelling Bee is next Thursday, and we're gonna be taking 2 representatives from Bradford over there, or excuse me, 4 representatives from Bradford over there. Martin Luther King Day is the 20th. On the 29th is the Athletic Boosters meeting. We're gonna have the National Honor Society induction on the 31st of January at 2:15, and then PTO meets on the 3rd of February, and then the board meeting is on, I believe, the 12th still, isn't it?
Well, sure.
Yeah, no, 13th.
Yeah, it is 12.
Is it the 12th? It should be the 12th, okay, 12th.
Yeah, I won't send you the wrong, promise.
All right, athletics, Josh couldn't be here tonight, he's at practice right now, so we had a major milestone over Christmas break with Owen Cannon breaking 1,000 points, which, you know, you look at the history of Bradford and how long Bradford's been here, there's not many kids that have done that. So that's one heck of an accomplishment by Owen. Says a lot about him, but, you know, he's a great football player, basketball player, even baseball player, but he's an even better kid. I mean, he is one that we would like to replicate. So congratulations to Owen. You know, he's got, I think I looked at the schedule, I think there are 10 games left, so he can definitely add on to that 1,000 points and, you know, work his way up the ladder in terms of, you know, where his spot would be in one of the leading point scorers in Bradford's history. Schedule, we have, did you miss one? Is there one after this one? Okay.
Yeah, there's one after this.
Okay, schedule for upcoming games that we have, January 9th, high school girls basketball is at Preble Shawnee. The junior high basketball is also at Tri-County North on the 10th. High school basketball is against Preble. The 11th, high school goes to Botkins up in Shelby County there. Then also junior high basketball is at Arcanum on the 11th. On the 13th, girls basketball plays Lehman here. And junior high basketball is at Miss-Cinnawa Valley. The 16th, girls basketball is at Arcanum, and the 17th, high school boys basketball is at Arcanum. So there's quite a few games going on here. There we go. Yeah, they must have gotten switched somehow. Did have the Athletic Hall of Fame. Bob's little brother, Chris, was inducted into the Bradford Hall of Fame. Played football, power lifted, but really excelled at track and ran at the state meet his senior year. So, you know, very, very accomplished athlete from Bradford. Our one inductee this year to the Bradford Athletic Hall of Fame. So it was kind of cool to watch Bob kind of introduce him and everything, so.
Thanks, Chris.
Maria, did you have any update from CCC?
No, I didn't bring it because I ran out without my phone. But we did have record number of enrollments for next year, and I wish I brought, I'll show it next month, but it showed like how many schools each one has and like, to their ratio of students, you know, and ours was of course large, but I'll bring it next month.
Okay, sounds good.
I was worried about being late, so I ran right out.
We're trying to get everything, so technology is not being my friend tonight, I'm sorry. I have a few things here that I'd like to talk about. First of all, we are supposed to get some cold weather coming up here. I want to reinforce that we do have a protocol. So if it gets cold enough, we will announce to everybody that the kids are supposed to go, the walkers that would like to use this situation or scenario could walk over to the library, we'll have it open, and then the school bus will come and pick them up at 7:50. So there's a nice warm place for them to walk to, stay in, and not have to walk all the way to school. And those will only be on days that we announce. And those are days when it's really cold out there where danger is getting close. Head Start restroom. We have a project here that's been going much slower than what we expected, but it's actually moving along fairly well now. The masons are done. There's some pictures here of what's going on. The bottom left is the vestibule as you walk in from the outside there. The double doors are still there to walk into the school board office. But to the left of that now is going to be another door that's going to be a glass storefront door that parents can go directly into the classroom and pick up their kids or drop off their kids as needed. So the vestibule is going to be a huge addition, but behind that wall is the bathroom. And to the right, there's two pictures of inside that bathroom. It's not huge, but it's enough for 2 toilets and a sink going directly from the classroom. Because right now those kids in that classroom go all the way up to the front of the building, the opposite side there to use the bathrooms and spend a lot of time in transition on the bathroom. So this will hopefully speed things up a lot and give them a lot more educational time. And it's utilizing some space that was a porch. It wasn't really utilized at all. And we've got an early childhood education grant that is paying for most of this project, not 100%, but most. This was the first day today that the Head Start classroom moved to the elementary end of the junior high wing, but they're down there for the foreseeable future. We'll try to get them back in the classroom as soon as possible, but we've obviously got to get some work done in there without the distractions beforehand. The hallway has been a project. We have a lot of the painting done on the door fronts and windows. That's already done. They've still got some to do along with the baseboards. They're supposed to be coming in tomorrow and Friday evenings after we let out of school to finish those pieces up. But the floor itself, there's some imperfections that we're still working on and trying to get some of those things fixed. But outside of that, the actual paint and everything is complete. And we've had very good reviews with it. And this, contrary to what I guess what we were afraid of to start with, was the friction of the surface, how slippery was it going to be when it was wet and those type of things. We did have some, of course, everybody coming in from outside the parking lot had water on their shoes. We had one person this morning on crutches that slipped a little bit, but this floor is much less slippery than the wax floor with the tile that we've got throughout the rest of the building, as Carla can attest. So hopefully this is something that's the first of many renovations we can do with the floors, but we'll continue to search for grants to help offset some of those costs.
I think they look good. I mean, a lot of people said the floors look, and I'm like, wow, when I see them, I'll let you know what I think. And I, like, pictures don't do it justice, but when I walked in, I thought they looked nice.
It's definitely
busy.
different than
It's
other
busy.
schools have.
Mhm.
It's very busy. We've gotten very good reactions from our kids. And most of our adults really like it too. So I've been impressed so far, so.
I mean, you really don't know with that little 12 by 12 or 15 by 15 square that we got to look at. But I guess it's the same. I mean, just when you see it in the big, it's like, wow. But
Yeah.
I thought it looked nice.
Yeah, well, thank you.
better than the tile that you had,
Yes.
more serviceable, so.
Yes, it's like taking a paint splotch from Lowe's home to see what your wall's supposed to look
Right.
like. You
And
just-
hopefully less workman comp claims, huh?
Right. Right. We should keep our fingers crossed. And then the last part of my report is the school calendar. We met again with the committee today to review options for our calendars and put together anything that could go out to our staff members. We don't have anything tonight to present, but rather we're going to bring it next month after we send it to the staff members to say, which one would you like best? We traditionally have 2 of them that we will share with the staff members, and then they vote on which one they like the best. And then we bring that to the school board to be voted on. The way the contract reads, that's supposed to be adopted at the February meeting. But there's a 30-day wait period before it's officially adopted. So what we're going to do next month is we're going to bring that, say, here it is, please vote on it, contingent on participation and feedback from our community. So we did that a couple of years ago. It worked fine. Unfortunately, with snow days and everything else happening here recently, that things weren't quite as quick as we'd hoped, and we didn't have that here tonight.
So you're wanting to do another survey or that just
No.
yours? Oh, okay.
No, we don't, I don't think at this point, I personally don't feel we need to at this point. Not for this year. We've talked about some different options. One of our representatives from the committee is here. Wendy, do you want to talk at all about any of it?
Well, this is the concern we have, or what we're looking at. We would like to present 2 calendars to the staff, one starting the last 3 days of the fair and one starting after the fair. The problem is, I don't want to present 2 calendars to the staff. The staff wants something that you guys are gonna vote down, or something that's gonna cause us a problem to make us again all go back another month for the calendar committee. Because I don't want to I'm trying to avoid the contract part of it. But I don't know if I need permission, or if that's something that we need to ask, but that's something we're looking for advice on. Is, again, we have 2 calendars, one that starts the last 3 days of the Dark County Fair, which would be that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then one that starts after the Dark County Fair.
So the one during the Dark County Fair, you would go for, some people would get off to show their animals.
They always do, yes.
And then, I mean, they would be off of school Monday, Tuesday, kids, right?
Everybody will be off school Monday, Tuesday.
Right, but then the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the kids that are competing or selling or cheering, we just
Well,
miss
cheering,
school again.
cheering's the week before. That'd be the last 3 days. It'd be just the selling part, primarily on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Oh, the second Friday of the fair.
Right. Not the first Friday. It'd be the last 3 days of the fair. That Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
So the kids would miss.
Now, kids that are selling,
Or
cleaning up all
still
stuff, they will,
selling, yeah.
they will get their excuse absence like we've done in the past. And then, like I said, the other calendar starts the 25th, which is the Monday after the fair. Now, next year, the calendars don't change a whole lot, but the year after, I think is what we looked at, the 26th year, wasn't it?
Yes.
The 26th year, we wouldn't start until the 30th. Because of the fact that the fair runs that month runs late.
Yeah, I saw like a lot of parents liked the after Memorial Day or after Labor Day and the Memorial Day thing.
Right. A lot of them voted that would like, we had comments going, don't change it because of the fair. I had some comments that said, we do want to do a pick with us, why aren't we doing that? To be quite honest, the biggest thing that came out of the survey was everyone's 2 weeks off at Christmas. That was 60% of the people that participate. Now, I didn't even get half the community to participate, but I think they said today, out of the message, the dojo message is out in elementary, 249 people read it.
Mhm.
But we only had like 91 participants.
They probably.
And I sent it K through 12. I did not send it, and that one said every adult parent. So if they had 2 emails on their final forms, each one of them could have voted. So, but the comments I think to me, they were split. I have a lot of people that wanted to get out before, I think we figured out around 50-60% wanted to get out before Memorial Day. But that's harder to do, especially if you have 1 to 2 week thing. Somebody on there said, why don't we get a full week of spring break? I mean, we haven't done that in years. I don't know if I've ever had a full week of spring break here, have we?
The last year we did it was 2009, which was my last year coaching track. It was 2010 when I could have done.
Spring break is gone. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, we did it when my kids were in school,
Yeah.
elementary.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, but we had 1 or 2 comments about that, but I don't want, this is my thing. My fear is if I send out the 2 calendars we would like to send out, and the one wins that goes during the fair, and then we bring it to you guys, you guys don't want that, or it's gonna be voted down or whatever, that's something we're trying to avoid. But, and any advice that you guys would wanna give us?
How do
We're
those
willing
two
to take.
how do those 2 calendars impact the end of the semester and testing?
We kept the semester, the same, which will end, both of them will end in December. December 19th will be the last day. We're essentially on the one calendar starting during the Dark End Fair, is literally giving us 3 days before testing, and then moving that last day, the kids' last day. If we start during the fair is the 22nd of May, which is the Friday before, the Friday before Memorial Day. We could, just making sure that looks right. Yeah, and then the teachers will come back after Memorial Day for 1 day for their work day. The other one, the kids will get out on the 28th. So those 3 days are just moved from, at the beginning, they start 3 days here. In the year, that's the only difference between the 2 calendars. The middles are pretty much the same.
So both of them, they're able to, the semester's done, they do Christmas
Yes.
break, they come back and start
Yeah.
fresh.
But
No
isn't the second quarter still not near as many as the third and fourth quarter days?
Well, third quarter, we usually dump. The third quarter, we usually have more because that's when more your soak days are gonna come is third quarter. Like, we've used 2 already in third quarter. It looks, that we're at 42 days if we do the is this the right one? Yeah, 42 days if we do it, start after the fair, the second quarter, and it's 42 days if we start before the fair. Yeah, the 3 days.
So that doesn't matter.
That doesn't impact it really. It does give more days than we have currently today. This last second quarter was pretty small.
Yeah, our quarter now was really small compared to the other ones.
Well, at 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think normally they're typically 42 days, 45 days, and I think this one was 37 and 51 or 52 for quarter 3.
So from 37 to 50, yeah.
So we added about 7 days.
Any thoughts? It's kind of hard to visualize it, just.
I mean, we're talking
seeing
3
it.
days.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's the difference between the two is 3 days.
3 days.
But again, we'd start those last 3 days of the fair.
It makes for a shorter week for the little kids, to be quite honest with you. So when you look at the fact that you're starting on a Monday, and I'm not even thinking about the fair, I'm thinking about a full week of school for the little ones, the little tiny ones. It's a lot for them to go for a full week, whereas a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a lot easier gradual move into a school year. So like going during the fair, if I'm just not even thinking about the fair, a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday start for the little kids, kindergarten, first, second grade, helps them transition back into the school year because they're not used to the endurance piece of school, if that makes sense. So as a elementary person, I'm just sitting back thinking, I don't care when you start and I'm not gonna be here anyhow. But in the end, it makes a big difference for little people.
I was gonna say, there's some adults that are saying.
It's just the
things.
endurance piece of it. It's a lot to come back into the swing of things. But again, I've never been a fair person, so I don't really have a good viewpoint on those types of things, so.
That's all I have.
Discussion thoughts, because the question is, you'd like to send out both to your staff, and you want to make sure that whichever one the
When?
staff would be most comfortable with, that, because I think it's a suggestion by the contract, not necessarily a
Yeah, right,
requirement.
right. And we've typically brought you the one that the staff, and it's the
Support.
whole staff. It's not just the union staff. It's not just the teaching staff. It's was it 70 or 80 people we have on staff?
Right, a
Yeah.
little over 80, yeah.
Yeah, so it's everybody gets to vote on that. So yeah, that's the calendar we usually present to you.
Right, you're gonna make sure that if it is during fair when the board is okay with that.
Right.
So I think that's the question she was asking, if
Yeah.
if
I mean,
the
if that
staff
was,
elects,
right,
if the staff elects to do the
That.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they don't want us to say, oh,
Well, I just don't think starting, I mean, either we're gonna start for the fair or we're not, because I think it's not fair to say, you guys can be off to show your animals, but you can't be off to your sales, which are the most important part to those kids. I mean, I just think if we're gonna let them off, we either let them all off or let them off the whole time or not. Because to me, it's defeating the purpose of all the people that want us to start after the fair. So,
I agree. I mean, Scott might not have been on the board when we had that blow up several years ago where we had a lot of patients, yeah. We had a lot of parents that were not happy with, because we did transition to the starting earlier with the whole day many years ago was to get more testing days in. So we started earlier so that we could do that. And then we didn't really ask to start earlier. We just started it earlier. And so then we got a lot of pushback from that. And that's the reason I think we moved back after the end of the fair, because there was a lot of the community members they wanted that family time apparently to be able to end of the summer before they started back to school to be able to do those activities. So that was the history of it, if I remember right. Correct if I'm wrong. And we didn't really ask permission the first time. We just made a decision based on what superintendent's recommendations that it would gain some extra educational days, and we were struggling with test scores,
I
so
think
we
we started
supported
like
it.
August 15th one year.
It was like, yeah.
Like, I think we started
Myself-
during the Miami County Fair.
Yeah, myself as a parent of a student it wasn't very fun.
And I think we got out like May 17th, 18th, we got it really early, because we got way before graduation even. that year.
Yeah, but it was difficult for this, depending on the weather of the summer, time with your kids and vacations trying to get to places, with the kids to vacation to get back before school started was that was a bit much. And I think, and that may have been what created the havoc. But then it landed down to, okay, well, we want you to start after the fair for these various reasons. So that's the conflict is, where we set what as a board, what do we feel are we comfortable with exactly what the staff desires? If they desire the 3-day, are we?
And I'm not
comfortable with
saying that they will vote one way or the other.
Right, we
I
don't
just
know.
don't want to present a calendar that
Yeah,
is, we're going to be back at the drawing board in
that
February.
we can't support.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. If we're okay with them, weighing in, and then they weigh in one direction, we want to make sure that we can support the direction, because it's kind of disenfranchising to ask them to vote and then not really respect it.
so in the past couple of years, we just gave them two to choose from, both, we just say start after the
We've
fair.
always done that.
Right,
Right.
start after the fair.
Right.
First,
Several
The
years.
difference was the parameters were set, say, okay, uphold the contract number one, but start after the Dark County Fair.
Right.
That was the only change with that piece. So the calendar committee still had the availability to put things together and put different options to the staff members, but there is a strong push to end right around Memorial Day, and try to stay out of June is the big push. So that limited, the changes that they could do.
Yeah, so they're both getting out before then.
Yes, well, yes.
So I
Yes.
Getting
don't
out
see
before-
that benefit.
Before
Memorial.
No.
June.
No,
Before June, yes, not before Memorial.
yes, before June.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, the first week of
But not
June, you
before
said, right?
Memorial Day.
Yeah,
Now, next year, like I said, when that fair time switches, or the year after, the 26th, 22nd year, holy moly. When that fair time switches, that's gonna push everything back. So I don't know how far I don't know, June will be right around the corner then, right after Memorial Day.
Do you have any thoughts, or we?
So the later start, Wendy, has kids coming back a few days after Memorial Day?
The later start has them coming back the week after Memorial Day, that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
the end of June, the end of May still,
Yeah.
not into June.
And what does the other?
But that would be like exams.
Well, we don't do set time exams anymore. You know how it used to be where the kids would come in for what, it was an hour and a half exams?
There were
set time?
exam schedules where it was basically like blocks, but I kind of did away with that because you had kids coming and going and you didn't know where they were and.
Right,
Yeah,
so we
we've
don't
done
do
away
that
with
kind of set, but,
Parents didn't even know either.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, at the middle school, high school level, yes, we have exams.
And then the one, if we go during those last 3 days of the fair, that calendar potentially would end where the kids would get out before Memorial Day, but the staff would have to come in the Monday after. Because that'd be their work day.
Thoughts, are we comfortable with both alternatives and let them decide, or do we have a? She's asking just for some guidance, I guess. We're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
approving or
exactly.
disapproving, we're just saying.
I mean, I prefer to start after the darkening there, but.
But I don't know how many people want to end
Right.
before Memorial Day. That, I also
Right.
see a big push for that too. Let's get vacation started. Let's still a little cheaper and all that stuff. So I don't know.
And I think Michelle's point of the warm start, probably in a lot of kids' best interest, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is.
Especially the little ones, because they do
Opposed to
struggle big time.
I mean, you
Big
can
story.
see them. They're not crying the first couple of days, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday come around and they're like, I'm tired. And even if we do the staggered start, which we do, it still is a lot for the little kids. But in the end, like I said, you're representing people that have voted you in. So, we're in a different position than you are. So you've got to represent the community members as well. So I noticed being on city council what that's like. So,
Right.
you know.
The only problem I have, it's a little difficult to do that at the moment. And as far as deciding, it's kind of almost like a short notice to really get a feel for where the public is at for this. Are we where we were many years ago, or are we at a different point? So that is just the lateness of it, I guess. If I had a wish list, would have been wish that we would have did this during the school year while you were like doing your parent teachers conference and that kind of stuff, thinking, give it a little bit of time to socialize it, to say, okay, we want to start before the dark. We want to start this kind of thing coming in the year, and then to feel, then we'd have a good feel kind of where we're at.
I think you also would have a different feel if you did a survey April, May. I think your feel would be a lot different as well too, as to, okay, what are my kids doing in school every day, things like that. So I think you're right. I think the closer you're out to something, the more heart it is to you.
Right.
Because like I said, Christmas, huge deal. That was a no-brainer.
Right.
But then Thanksgiving, if you take that Wednesday away, I think there's a lot of people that'd be mad about that too, because it's a travel day.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think I get a lot of people who come May, parents are like, why are they still in school, and
Right.
I think it just depends. I think one of the reasons we got so much kickback on that 15th of August start, I think it was everything. I don't think it was just the fair. I think it was just,
horrible.
I mean, I think teachers started back, on the 3rd or 4th or something. It was
Right.
It was crazy.
There was
Yeah.
a year of no summer.
Right,
You
right.
know?
And I felt bad for the office of Rita, and I think it was Crystal at the time, or even Amy. They stayed late and then they had to come back early. They never made up that time,
And I
from
think that
but-
inching toward that creates that same angst that we created by this super early start.
Mhm.
Do you think the staff would have an issue if, rather than doing the fair time this year, that we had that conversation through the year with the parents and then had an idea you could present to us, so we would kind of have an idea what the community really was seeing and what they were looking at?
Yeah, 'cause we can start the calendar committee whenever, and we can
Sure.
start it in
And if we-
September.
Because it's just like, when you look at Congress, they put a bill today and ask you to read 300 pages and vote. And then how do you honestly do that? And that's kind of how my gut feels. It's like, I hear your point. I like starting that Wednesday for the kids. But at the same time, I remember the pushback. And I would feel much more comfortable if it was socialized longer and we go, yeah, it's good. It just feels kind of rushed to make that kind of a change.
I mean, you could get every elementary parent tell you what their viewpoint is when they come to conferences, because every
Yeah.
elementary parent comes to conference.
Right.
Be a
I mean,
better sample.
we'd have an idea of what our community needs, what our students need, what our parents need. And that would make me feel comfortable.
And we may have 200, I don't cares.
But at least you have a representation that way. 91 is not very many.
No, if you look at 91, if those are 2-parent households and they just did one for themselves, that's only 182 people in this district. Well, there's a whole lot more.
They paid attention to the time when you
Yeah.
needed to do it. It's like
They're-
pops on your
yeah.
phone, you gotta, oh, do that later.
Well, it surprises me that with the dojo message she said with the elementary, 249 parents read it. That's a lot,
But they didn't do
but
anything.
they didn't do anything with it.
It's like me, I read it and I go, I'm gonna do something about
And then you
that. And
forget all
then
about it.
3 weeks later, you go, oh, past the due date.
Right. Right.
So how do you
Or
think
there's
that
that
would?
group that's read it and said,
I don't
I
care.
don't really care.
Yeah, and that's what you don't know.
And
Is it,
yeah,
I don't care, is I'm
it's
okay
almost
either
like you need a
way.
box that says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next to
Like if
it.
this was
Yeah.
just a paper.
Yeah.
I don't care,
Just check off the paper.
either way.
That's what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think would that
We could, for sure.
have that
I mean,
discussion
now that
rather
this is
than
for
moving?
next year, I think we could. I don't know if we could do it this year, only because the contract says we have to have something in February.
Right, so I guess my point would be if.
Because I have no problem starting the committee in September. That's-
Right, if
I
we
mean,
left it,
Joe and I were the only ones on the committee.
if we left it, yeah, so if we left it after the fair this year and then had that committee start early, socialize it and go, you guys look at the calendar earlier and go, what is gonna work, socialize as pre-start or early start or a late start. And then we would know kind of what the staff feels, what the community and what the parents and the students feel. Because I know as a parent, I felt, I was on the board, but I supported our administration. That 15th start date was just,
Crazy.
it was
Yeah.
not enjoyable.
But then I don't know how,
I don't want that
this
feeling.
is the other flip side of that though. Like, I think Troy, they do their calendars every 2 years. I don't know about the Career Center, but some of the other districts just do it. And I don't know if it's part of their contract. I don't know how that works. But they don't get, I don't think, very much input. Like when Pickwood moved to the Memorial Day, Labor Day thing, I don't know how many people in the community actually got to have a vote.
Right.
Or even have a say.
Right, and maybe their culture is, we do it, no questions
Right,
asked.
and it may be too much, too
Yeah.
many
I think we created a
inputs.
culture that
Yeah.
asks for
Yeah.
input
Right,
and be hard to
right,
disenfranchise them.
right.
I don't know, what do you guys think? That's just,
I mean,
I
I
just
think your
feel like-
idea is a good idea.
I'm
I
kinda
think
just feel
it
rushed.
is a short time frame, and to get inputs of everybody and a better sample to hold off on a big change.
How do you do the committee? Like, you have like elementary, high school?
There's 2 representatives from the elementary, 2 from the high school, and Wendy.
And in the contract, it just says that because of somebody in the room, put in the contract that the school counselor had to be in there for testing. And I think it just says Joe and I, just says the superintendent and me are the people that have to be on the committee. But the committee could be 10 people. I don't think it says 2 and 2.
So
I
could
think it
you
just says give a
do,
memo, doesn't it?
I guess past practice has been 5 people.
Right,
I don't know. if
I
that's
think you can have as many as you want, but we were trying to make it even, not all
so
elementary,
maybe
not all high
our
school.
committee could be, what do I say, certified staff, just different,
Classified folks.
yeah,
Well, that's the other
classified,
question.
certified.
How much can we do that with because it's in the contract? The calendar committee's in the contract, it's not.
But that,
I'm just saying,
The contract is certified staff members only, so it's been limited to just certified staff members, teachers.
but if you want
I
a true
don't know
committee,
if
you would
it's-
want maybe some elementary parents, some high school parents, some, just to get people to feel.
Yeah, but
The
if the committee
committee-
can just figure out a way to get that data for us, your 2 people could,
yeah.
and
I
then
mean,
bring
we-
it to us and
yeah.
say, hey, look, this is how the community and the parents and the students have
Right.
felt at their
And like
evaluation.
a unbiased, like you vote for this or
I
this.
just remember that was not comfortable. That August start date was, maybe that's what still sits in the back of my head, but that, I think, started the whole, that's what rolled it.
And like I said, I don't think it was just the fair concern is just starting so early.
Right, and then it landed on the fair, and then that's what everybody focused on.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to take the focus away from that moving forward and figure out what's best for the kids.
Mhm.
But I think if we could leave it as, avoid that fair time in the upcoming calendar and then for our next year, move forward and then figure out what we really want or what
Have some good data.
everybody wants.
A decision based on what our community needs.
Yeah, I don't know, that's just a thought. Any other thoughts? Scott? Any thoughts you have? You lived that, you were teaching probably when that
Yeah, I've
event occurred.
been through all of it. There was one year where, because of snow days and stuff, we went to the second week in June.
Yeah,
That's bad.
June 11th, somebody was, we were talking about that today.
Yeah, that was not good.
Saturdays.
So you talk
Exactly.
about, you know,
Those are bad
you talk
education
about,
days.
yeah, about the start of school, how about the end of school too.
Yeah.
What you're saying is fine, but I have not heard a whole lot mentioned about student instruction. And bottom line, that's what we gotta focus on, because that's what we're here for.
But aren't they getting the same amount of instructional days?
They look pretty similar,
Those
yeah.
contracts should be the same.
Let's
I mean, those-
let's take the 3 days. You be in 3 days, beginning of the year. It doesn't matter to me where you started. The 3 days, your teachers are gonna spend 3 days either there or somewhere, wherever we start, I'm still teaching. Wherever they start, those your first 3 days, you're gonna be getting acquainted, getting used to the routine, handing out materials and doing all that stuff. It's gonna be whatever 3 days you decide, whether you go 3 days before fair or 3 days after the fair. But those are 3 days that I can get that out of the road and I can even get started. And say, okay, get that out of the road, and now I can start my instruction, or I can start my instruction during those 3 days. But I'm doing instruction. And that's what it doesn't matter to me where you start. It really doesn't matter. What matters is, to me, as an educator, is the instruction time. And we moved it there. And again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We're worried about our instruction time because of the testing. If it wouldn't be for the testing, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if we're gonna be held accountable by the state in our scores, or what do they do now, ABC or whatever, I forget what it is. If we're gonna be held accountable for that, then we need to make sure that we're gonna give them the optimal time for instruction. When you start, it really doesn't matter. As a teacher, the biggest thing I like is being done at the end of the semester.
Yeah,
At Christmas break.
and that meets those
That's all good.
needs. Yeah,
That to me, that's vital.
I agree.
And
Well, this calendar is strictly for convenience. It's about what makes sense for people's lives.
Yeah.
The testing scores and everything else, I promise you, most parents don't care. I mean, if you had input from parents about what the school's test results are, they don't care. They care about a calendar, what makes it convenient for them. So I agree that that's the reason we're here, is for the education of the students.
And I agree.
That's not what the parents are there for.
I agree 100% with you. They don't care.
They're gonna, the kids are gonna get more, as much or more education at home. That's built at home. The more days at school we spend, it's useless.
So we don't, investigate the care if we went into June.
But then again, it's a matter of convenience.
Exactly.
It's nothing to do with education.
We've got a set number of days, or what is it?
But there
Hours?
again, that's to do
It's
with a
days.
contract that's written. It
Yeah,
has
our
nothing to do with that.
contract.
That has nothing to do with education. That has to do with the contract.
Mhm.
Nothing has one to do with the other. So you gotta figure out what's more important, convenience, education, contract? What's more important to you? That's my opinion.
Depends on the hat you wear today, right?
Yeah.
Holly, any thoughts? I guess we can. Anything to add?
Not that that helps you win.
That's okay.
That's my opinion.
It does, it does.
Does that make sense? I think.
I think there needs to be a lot more discussion around it. Because I do
Well-
agree something that, there has to be some middle ground somewhere. Right now, after the fair seems to be the best middle ground.
But it's not a permanent middle ground.
Right,
It's
yeah, I mean.
time.
I think the next calendar we go into that is gonna be a totally different discussion because of the fact that the fair's gonna be late.
Right, and maybe the
Yeah.
discussion is,
I mean, that changes the whole perspective all over again.
right, and you have to take each one on its merits.
Right.
But yeah, they give you, I think, socializing and figuring out. I don't think any of us would be opposed to starting during the fair, in the fair before, depending if that's what's needed for the students. I think we just need more data and information and not be so quick at the last minute. Is that helpful? Important discussion though.
Yes, very good. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And that is all I have for my report.
Much more you ever had.
No kidding, right?
Carla?
Just a couple items. We're still progressing on the audits. I told you last month, we were working through 3 different audits simultaneously. Closing out things, you should have received your W-2 forms tonight, and those are all out to all staff and finalizing all the reports for the end of the calendar year. And we're going to be bringing some grants to you, not this month, but next month. We talked about doing the America 250 grants. We're now a recognized America 250 community, which I think there are 3 or 4 in Miami County, and maybe in Dark County, there were only 2. So we are now in one of those. So we're going to be working on some things. We've got some innovative ideas on the greenhouse. As we're working through that, I think we have some progress made. We'd like to make more, but we do have some time on that particular item. But still want to have that by midsummer, pretty well along. So with that, that is my report for tonight.
Any questions for Carla? I didn't have any requests. Did you have any requests for public participation?
No, sir.
If not, we'll move into the recommendations for the financial report from the treasurer. So Carla, if you could give us an update on items 1 through 12, that you recommend for us to approve?
Okay, naturally, we have the financial journal, check register, then and nows, transfers and advances, appropriations, just the gambit. Spirit card donation from Greenville Federal, and donations from the Covington Eagles that have been very appreciated annually for the last several years. Donation for some of the school lunches and various items that we've gotten for actually, I think that's all in the gymnasium to help increase the sound productivity. And we've gotten the serving lines that will be used in the cafeteria, and the application for the America 250 that I talked about, and then the donation from the Wayne Healthcare Foundation to further our AEDs that we need in our current buildings and potential buildings.
Thanks, Carla. Can I have a motion to approve the items presented?
So moved.
Thanks, Scott. In a second.
Second.
Thanks, Carla. Any questions for Carla or discussion of any specific items? If not, roll call for approval.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer, Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next, we have no old business or new business tonight, because the superintendent recommends approval of the items listed under the consent calendar. Joe, if you could review what items you'd like us to approve.
Since there's only 6 of them, I'll explain each one of those just real quickly. Unfortunately or fortunately for her, we have the retirement of Mrs. Lady, which I will not try to get real sappy about tonight. Rob Dickerson and Haley Lear and Katie Fry have all taken some classes to be reimbursed, and Rob will have enough to move over into the Masters 15. The next one is a new law that is going into effect right now. Before November 30th, we have to adopt the special ed model policies. Our policies already reflect exactly what the state is asking us to do, but we have to have a motion this year by March, next year, and every year after by November 30th. So this reflects that. The red stuff, folks out here in the audience and at home don't see this part that's in red, but the difference is the original motion was my words. The red stuff was direct from Neola with their policies that came out yesterday. Number 5, we have an intervention program that'll help our 3rd grade reading guarantee kids get up to where they need to be. And number 6 is a transportation agreement between all the school districts that are in the collaborative to transport kids and use liabilities if we were going to transport all of our kids in the MD classroom to a field trip. This explains how liability works. So
So
something
we're
we've already
back
been doing.
to doing it again? We're doing the transportation with them, or we?
This is exactly what we have been doing. It's just memorialized now on paper.
Okay.
So no changes really. It's just written down now.
I think you're referring to the way that the transportation used to
We
work.
used to do it all
prior to
here. They would pay
2015.
for it. Yes.
Okay, yes, you mean getting the kids from here to there.
That's all.
This is only referring to if we take that group of kids somewhere for a field
Like
trip.
if we have a grant and then we're with someone. Okay, I understand.
Yes. So, but everything before and after school is still on us to transport our kids to Ansonia and Mississauga.
Thanks. We have a motion to approve the items presented.
So moved.
Thanks, Ray, in a second.
Second?
Thanks, Maria. Any other discussion or questions? If not, we'll call for approval.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next, item 7 and 8.
The next 2 are construction related, both relative to the Head Start restroom project. The Masons did everything they were supposed to, but they went a little bit above and beyond by filling the cavities in the block with concrete and those type of things, and did just a little bit more than what we asked them to do. So they are asking for another $1,500, which is well below many of the other quotes that we've got. So that one's, I'm perfectly fine with, let's just say that. And then number 8 is Jonathan Floor Construction has agreed to do a lot of the general work in there. Skip is looking at some of that, thinking he's going to knock some of those pieces off the list, but not to exceed the $9,800 or $9,600 is what we're going to have with Jonathan. So as we do go through that and Skip has a chance to put in a window or something like that, we can deduct that from the bill. And Jonathan's fine with that.
Do you have a motion to approve items 7 and 8?
I move to approve.
Thanks, Maria and Scott. Any discussion or other questions for Joe? If not, roll call for approval.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next is considered the second and final reading of the Neola policies that are listed on our agenda on page 9 and top of 10. Any questions or items to discuss for Joe?
Anybody want updates on any other pieces? We've talked about them before, but. And if anybody's listening from home, these are on our website too. So, and if anybody has questions, please call.
If there's no other discussion, we have a motion to approve the policies.
So moved.
Thanks, Trey, in a second.
Second?
Thanks, Holly. Any discussion? None? Roll call for approval, please.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next is an item to enter executive session for item G1.
So moved.
Thanks, Maria, and second from Scott. Roll call for entering executive session.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
7:38. And there'll be no decisions or items voted on after executive
I
session
know,
at
it's bad.
But I was
8:15.
wondering here today, I'm good to
We
leave.
have motion
Move
to adjourn in a
Yep.
second. Roll call for adjournment.
Just throwing stuff.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel, Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
8:16.
All right, now I'm gonna go